10 years is a long time. Long enough to build traditions, for routines to feel permanent, and to believe that whatever happened on one stormy night at Crestfall Hospital was just weather. Did you enjoy episode 1 to 3? If you did, kindly tell us where you are watching from in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe. Rebecca Wilson's world was polished, predictable, carefully curated. That Saturday morning, sunlight poured through the tall windows of the Wilson home as Rebecca sat at the grand piano. Her fingers moved confidently across the keys. She didn't just practice, she performed, even when no one was watching. Cynthia stood in the doorway quietly, listening. Pride filled her chest. Rebecca was thriving, top of her class at Crestwood Preparatory. First chair in the junior orchestra, already telling anyone who would listen that she would become a pediatric surgeon just like Mom. Edward adjusted his cufflinks and smiled. She's disciplined. She is, Cynthia agreed. But something flickered behind her eyes, because lately, when she really looked at Rebecca, something unsettled her. Nothing obvious, just a whisper of something she couldn't name. Rebecca finished playing and turned. "Dad, do you think I could audition for regionals? With that talent? Absolutely." Cynthia crossed the room and kissed her forehead. "You can be anything you want." Elowen Mirella had always been independent, gifted, observant, curious about everything. She insisted on walking to school alone. "It's 3 blocks," she would say with exaggerated patience. Dante would pretend to think about it. Mirella would fix her backpack straps and smooth her curls. Look both ways. That morning felt normal. Too normal. Clear skies, cool air, quiet streets. Elowen most times walks to school with other kids. Most days they played, laughed, and shared jokes on their way to school and back home. But on that fateful day, Elowen insisted she had to be in school very early because she wanted to rehearse her speech for the assembly. Elowen crossed the first street, then the second. At the third intersection, everything happened at once. A bicycle sped through too fast. A delivery van braked sharply. Someone shouted. Elowen turned, and before anyone could say anything, the van hit Elowen, and she fell to the ground. Her head struck the curb enough to make her lose consciousness, and she had fractured her ankle and was bleeding. For a second, there was noise. Then there wasn't. Elowen was quickly rushed to Crestfall Hospital. At Crestfall Hospital, the emergency team worked quickly. By the time Dante and Mirella arrived, Elowen was unconscious, machines humming softly around her. "She has a head injury," the attending doctor explained. "She's stable, but she's lost a significant amount of blood. We need to prepare for transfusion." "Take mine," Dante said immediately. "Test me," Mirella added. The doctor nodded. The blood samples were taken, and tests were run immediately because it was an emergency situation. "We already have the result of the blood tests." Something in his tone changed the temperature of the room. Dante noticed. "And?" The doctor exhaled slowly. "Your daughter's blood type is B negative." Mirella blinked. "Okay." The doctor further asked, "Was she adopted?" "You're both O positive." Silence. Dante frowned. "No, she is our biological child." "So we're not compatible?" The doctor chose his next words carefully. "Neither of you can donate to her." Mirella's voice shook. "Am I getting confused here?" "There's more," the doctor said gently. Dante's jaw tightened. "What more?" "With 2 O-positive parents, biologically, it is not possible to have a B-negative child." The room seemed to tilt. "That's wrong," Dante said immediately. "Run it again." "We did."
Mirella stepped back as if distance could undo the sentence. "Are you saying she's not ours?" "I'm saying the genetics don't align." The words were clinical, precise, devastating. But the doctor straightened. "Right now, that question is secondary. Her life comes first. We need a compatible donor immediately. We can investigate everything else after she's stable." In the hallway, footsteps slowed. Dr. Cynthia Wilson heard the conversation as she was treating another child nearby. The words she heard stopped her. B negative, 10 years old, incompatible parents. She turned toward the bed. Mirella's voice broke. "Please, just save her." Cynthia didn't think. "I couldn't overhearing," she said gently. "You need a B negative donor?" The doctor nodded. Cynthia swallowed. "I'm B negative." The words settled into the room. Dante looked at her stunned. "You would do that?" Cynthia glanced through the glass at Elowen. "She's around my daughter's age," Cynthia said softly. "If my child were in that bed, I'd hope someone would step forward." She met their eyes. "So yes, I'm willing." Mirella's eyes filled with tears. None of them noticed the way her gaze lingered on Elowen's face, the shape of her nose, the curve of her chin, the strange, unexplainable pull in her chest. But she felt it, and she couldn't explain why. Few minutes later, Cynthia sat in a donor chair, watching her blood flow slowly through a thin tube. She told herself it was simple, professional, and just human. Across the ward, Elowen received the transfusion. Her pulse strengthened, her oxygen levels steadied. Color returned slowly to her cheeks, life responding to life. And no one in that building understood the weight of what was happening. A mother's blood was flowing into her biological daughter. 10 years, without either of them knowing. That evening, Rebecca sat at the dining table, textbooks open. Cynthia walked in exhausted. "Mom?" Rebecca asked softly. "You look tired." "Long day." Later that night, Cynthia couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Elowen's face. Familiar. Too familiar. Across town, Dante sat beside Elowen's hospital bed, replaying the doctor's words. Not biologically possible. Mirella stared at her daughter. Crestfall Hospital. The same hospital where she had given birth 10 years ago. The same night, a violent storm had knocked the power out for 3 full minutes. How much can change in 3 minutes? Down the corridor, Nurse Carla heard some nurses discussing the good deed Dr. Cynthia did to save a 10-year-old girl who was rushed in and needed blood because her parents' blood type wasn't compatible with hers. She had to clarify her doubts. She rushed to the children's ward and found Elowen and her parents. Their faces looked so familiar. Flashes from 10 years ago gushed back immediately. She stood alone in the records room. In her hands was an old archive box labeled Maternity Ward 10 years ago. Her fingers trembled as she opened it, because she remembered that storm, the darkness, 2 newborn girls in bassettes, side by side, and one wrist tag slipping to the floor. In the next episode, old records will be pulled, DNA tests will be suggested, and the question no parent ever wants to ask will finally be spoken aloud. If she's not ours, then where is our real daughter? But the cruelest truth? She was already found, and a mother just saved her without knowing she saved her own child. Nurse Carla should have waited this long to check the records. 10 years is a long time. What do you think? Tell us in the comments section.